Hello, everyone, and welcome to the stream. With our two distinguished guests, Chair of Azerbaijani People's Parliament, Arastun Orujlu, and Abid Gafarov, we'll try to connect some dots that might seem separate, but paint a fascinating and urgent picture of how international politics is being rewritten. Our menu for tonight has three complex dishes. The first title of our today's stream is Quo Vadis Azerbaijan, where Azerbaijan goes. Are we at the table or on the menu of changing international politics? This is the phrase used by the Canadian Prime Minister at Davos Summit, where he said that today's world we are either at the table or on the menu. And we'll see where Azerbaijan stands. Are we at the table or on the menu? And we see how countries, international organizations, dignitaries, royalties, presidents, CEOs of big companies who had recently had honorable places in the societies at the table turn to be at the menu, just in front of our eyes. We see also how states rise and states having problems, and the recent, with Epstein files revealed how the world is weak. How people who have been, on the top of political career, on the top of media, on the top of societies, collapsed just after these files became known. Abid Gafarov is, I think that our second guest will join us shortly. I hope that within a few minutes. We just had contact with him. But before we really start discussions, please support us by clicking, liking, and sharing this video. This is already the second program with two distinguished personalities, experts, not only politicians, but real experts that I follow myself very closely. And my first question is to Arastun Orujlu. Arastun, last time we agreed to call each other on the first name. My first question is very simple. Is Azerbaijan today at the table or on the menu of the international politics?
So first of all, thank you, Arif, for inviting me today, and I thank everybody who right now watches us and views us. Your question is quite a tough question, and it's really quite difficult to make a conclusion in terms of your question or to answer this question. According what's going on around, with, as you mentioned, Epstein files and geopolitics, U.S. foreign policy priorities shift, Azerbaijan's relation with not only its close neighbors like Iran, Russia, everything seems, but also international institutions and community or global forces. It all makes things so complicated that it's really not a matter of 1 hour, even several hours discussion. I very accurately follow many famous names in political analysis, in political sciences, and even very famous names, globally famous names in politics, in political sciences. They cannot predict something in any respect, you know. I'm not about in general situation, but about some separate issues like economy or security issues. But coming back to your question, I would like to say that, well, we have here two options, if we can call them options. So the first option is Azerbaijani government propaganda is representing to Azerbaijani people. You know, Azerbaijan is a decision maker country. Aliyev's foreign policy is so successful. We are right now becoming one of decision maker countries in the world, but that's all simply propaganda. And it's a baseless claim, you know, it's all very baseless, extremely baseless, because for being a real regional force, I'm not talking about being a global force, you really have to have some preconditions for this. So the first precondition is economic power. How is the economic power of Azerbaijan looks today? Very poor. I'm not going in details, you know, because of everybody knows it. If we are talking to Azerbaijani public, so people know this from their daily life, prices in markets, and when they just want to provide their family with the food. I'm not talking about some leisure, some you know, some other things, some travel. Let's talk about just food. So I was really shocked when I saw food prices in Azerbaijan and compared them to food prices in New York City, which is one of the most expensive cities in the world. It's unbelievable. Baku, in terms of food prices, much more expensive than New York City.
The same, much more expensive than Brussels. Absolutely.
Yeah. By the way, Brussels is one of the expensive cities in Europe. I know that because I remember I many times traveled to Brussels and other cities in Germany, in France, and so here's the question: how people survive in these conditions? That's really a good question. That's really disturbing question. But Azerbaijani government talks about successful policy of Azerbaijan, successful economy, successful investment. Who is investing in Azerbaijan? So last year, in 2025, Azerbaijani people, not Azerbaijani people literally, but oligarchs having billions, stolen billions, they transferred more than $4 billion from the country, outside of country. They invested somewhere. So in terms of economy, Azerbaijan cannot be at the table. So in terms of domestic policy, stability, you cannot have a stability or stable situation without socio-economic stability. In terms of relationship, Azerbaijan's relationship with international community. So I hope we will talk about this. Azerbaijan is actively, Azerbaijani government definitely, is actively ignoring not only international law, but also even membership or cooperation in international institutions like Parliamentary Assembly of the Council of Europe, and not only this. And now they are joining to Donald Trump's so-called peace board. It's really amazing, you know.
I just want to ask also about this. I also have a question about peace board.
So I mean, Azerbaijan is in menu. So making long story short, my answer is Azerbaijan cannot be at the table. Azerbaijan is endangered.
Yeah, I just wanted to ask about the peace board because it is presented as we are. You see, we are at the peace board with Donald Trump, with some, but we see that unfortunately, not many European countries have supported this initiative. From European countries, I see that only Hungary and Bulgaria just participated, and apparently they accepted to be on the peace board. But since this peace board was announced, we don't see many discussion about that. It is just forgotten. Probably it will only be on the paper, and I don't think that it has any perspective without key countries being part of it. Even we don't see China, India, Russia, and countries which Trump believes to be should be at the board. And Putin said, "Okay, we can be, but you can take this 1 billion from the frozen account in US." Yeah, just so that you don't believe that being at the peace board or attending some ceremonies in Abu Dhabi makes Azerbaijan at the board. But I do share with you the same opinion, and I think that the most important thing today is economy. And yeah, Azerbaijani economy is in terrible shape. Probably not everybody realizes how bad situation is, and but if we analyze things, it is even worse than many can imagine. And we have other problems. You told last time about demography; it is catastrophic. The worst demography in the region. I remember you were talking about that. You were the first one who rang alarm about this, but this is also a very serious problem. The worst demography in maybe a recent history of Azerbaijan. If you have something to add or not, if not, I will.
So first of all, I'm greeting Abid, who joined us right now, and the peace board name itself sounds ironic, with two war criminals, officially recognized and sanctioned war criminals like Putin and Netanyahu. And in general, I think peace board is something is like a business project, because Donald Trump's all ideas based on business interests. Look when this happened. So first, Donald Trump has declared that the peace board is. Yeah.
I think that there is some connection problem. Abid Bhai, are you with us?
Yes, I'm with you. I hear you. I'm greeting you.
I'm here.
You are on the line. Yeah, there was some internet problem apparently.
So maybe, yeah. I apologize. So I mean, when you talk about peace board, so what Donald Trump started with about peace board, he said this is for getting peace in Gaza between Israel and Palestinians. When did it happen? It happened after Qatar officially rejected to pay for rebuilding Gaza. And now Donald Trump, he has a very special family project for Gaza, and it was declared many months ago by his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, and his business partner, who became a diplomat now, Stephen Witkoff. And now I think by declaring so-called peace board, Donald Trump just wants to collect money for rebuilding Gaza, but not in interest of Gazans, of these people, more than 70,000 of whom were murdered by Israeli army. Right, several days ago, Israelis officially confirmed that there were civil casualties about 70,000 civil casualties. Can you imagine that? They bombed, they wiped out Gaza completely. And how can you join this so-called peace board with war criminals like Putin and, uh, and Netanyahu? So, and you even pay for this. So you are going to pay for Gaza restoration, Gaza rebuild, but not, again, I want to mention it especially, particularly because it's not about Gazans, you know, it's about Donald Trump's clan or family business interests. At the same time, Azerbaijan is still disputing about to join or not, whether to join or not, Abraham Accord. So Abraham Accord has nothing to do with Azerbaijan. Abraham Accord is for Arab countries recognizing Israel's independence as a state and partially Arab countries of the Middle East and partially Arab countries of North Africa. And you know, now they want to join Kazakhstan to join this Abraham Accord. They have already declared that they are joining. And now Azerbaijan, it's Israel's policy towards blocking Turkey or separating Turkey from Azerbaijan and Kazakhstan. And Aliyev seems, you know, in such a chaos, because from one hand side he says we can't send our troops to Gaza because we can't put them under the threat. Okay, but why you are paying for this? What we are going to pay for this so-called peace board? Why you are joining war criminals? By the way, one of them directly, Vladimir Putin, committed crime against Azerbaijani people by shutting down Azerbaijan's passenger jet. And they refused, they totally refused even to investigate this case. And now Aliyev says, okay, I'm ready to join this peace board.
There's again the problem on the line. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Is it? Did you finish? Yeah. Abid Bey, do you hear me? Yeah. Do you have something to add or dispute or agree or disagree?
Firstly, I'd like to greet you, Arif and Mr. Chairman Arastun, and also all the audience. I'd like to apologize sincerely because of being late. At the moment, I'm in Netherlands, and we are doing the traveling.
Yeah, I think that again, you know, even in yeah, okay, you are again on the line. Yeah, we don't hear you. You try again. No, we don't hear.
Do you hear me now?
Again, now it's here. Now it's okay.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, because I received the call, that's why it was reached.
Okay.
So I'm not at home. I just.
But did you hear the question? You know.
Yes.
Are we at the table or we are on the menu?
Unfortunately, Azerbaijan at the moment cannot be at the table. There is no chance for Azerbaijan to sit at table and participate at any discussion equal to other countries. Why it is so radical? Why I'm describing it with so radicalism? Because the issue is with representation. Because other countries are at table with the representatives who are lawfully elected by the people. Yeah. But when we talk about Azerbaijan, unfortunately, this is not the case. And entire world knows that for last 30 years, all the elections, let it be for municipality or the parliamentary elections or presidential elections, even the change to the constitution, as we know, that should be done through the elections, been falsified. So Ilham Aliyev or Samet Seyidov, anyone who can represent Azerbaijan doesn't have legitimate basis. Yeah, so that's why Azerbaijan for now cannot be at the table. How about if we are on menu or not? Unfortunately, yes, Azerbaijan, it doesn't matter if it is 86.6 thousand square kilometer in terms of territory, or 10 millions of people in terms of population, or natural resources or natural fortunes. Azerbaijan is on the menu. Why? Because Aliyev's regime, in order to compensate the falsified elections and not legitimate presidential post, he should, you know, pay the taxes, pay the, bills. So if there is any requirement from Europe in terms of oil, petrol, or gas, or any money required, or any Museum of Louvre, or the church in the Vatican required to be repaired, Aliyev is here with the money of Azerbaijani people to cover all the expenses. So if Azerbaijani people cannot eat its own natural fortune, natural resources, then other people will eat it. And we observed that Aliyev very successfully blackmailing all over the world. How it is blackmailing? He's blackmailing Europe and the civil world, that you have to support me. If you don't support me, then maybe Iranian, pro-Iranian, some people will come to the power, or pro-Russian, etc. And vice versa. He's blackmailing Russia, saying that you have to support me, or blackmailing Iran. Same way, if you don't support me, then democratic forces will come to the power, NATO will come to the region, and other stuff. I think that because Aliyev wants to keep the power for years, maybe pass it to another member of family. In this case, in order to fulfill his plan, he should feed all the stakeholders, all the parties, in order to implement his plan. Thank you.
Thank you, Abid. I appreciate our viewers, our guests who just write many comments, and I'm surprised as the last time there were many comments in English. The second time I'm really surprised that I didn't know that so many interesting questions, and we will try at the end to find some few minutes to answer some of the questions. I think that we can move to the next question, and the question is about Azerbaijan role in international organizations. Azerbaijan was expelled from the Parliamentary Assembly of the Council of Europe. I think that this decision should have been done before, long time before, after caviar diplomacy, after corruption crisis, which was the biggest crisis in the history of the Council of Europe. But we are expelled from the Council of Europe. We are now trying to distance ourselves from other organizations, despite the vision that Azerbaijan wants to be the member of the World Trade Organization. We are not member of the World Trade Organization. So that Aliyev moves the country out of the civilized world. And when we talked about menu, table or the menu, I think that not only Azerbaijan is on the menu, but Azerbaijani people are on the menu of one family, unfortunately. And we see that obviously. The Council of Europe. I know that Azerbaijani People's Parliament, attributed you to go and participate at the session of the Parliamentary Assembly of the Council of Europe. It was, I think, the first time you went there in the capacity of the member of the board of the Azerbaijani Popular Parliament. I would tell briefly what Azerbaijani Popular Parliament is. It is, in fact, I would say, can we call it shadow parliament? Would you agree with? No, not shadow.
No. I think shadow parliament is something different. Shadow parliament pretends the maybe institution is pretending to replace
Yeah.
parliament in existing parliament in Azerbaijan called National Assembly.
Yeah.
We don't follow kind of targets, you know. Our aim is Azerbaijani people to be represented in international institutions, because what we have heard just after January session of Parliamentary Assembly of the Council of Europe, the former head of Azerbaijani mission, Mr. Samad Sayedov, he immediately declared that because of PASE, yeah, we call it PASE, yeah, Parliamentary Assembly of the Council of Europe, they criticize Azerbaijan in terms of their pro-Armenian position and so on, and they implemented the declaration against Azerbaijan, but that actually was not against Azerbaijan. We just ignore it. You know, what Aliyev government, Aliyev regime is doing is it's trying to implement its own rules of the game. Whom? To international community? No, it makes no sense. It really makes no sense. But what we get finally, we get what we have. We have Azerbaijani people not represented in different international and very important institutions like Parliamentary Assembly. You mentioned World Trade Organization. Azerbaijan is negotiating membership in World Trade Organization over 30 years. In the last 30 years, they were not able to come to conclusion what to do. To accept a membership in World Trade Organization or not. That's a problem, you know. By the way, I want our people to know that this latest declaration at the Council of Europe, it was not about Armenian. It was nothing to do with Armenia. It was about political prisoners in Azerbaijan and human rights in Azerbaijan. And Armenian prisoners, which are actually, I also confirm that most of them, great majority of them, war criminals. By the way, several of them have been sentenced right today. They were mentioned only in one sentence, but Mr. Sayedov took this sentence out. So, Parliamentary Assembly of the Council of Europe is pro-Armenian. Okay, let's say they demand you to release Armenian prisoners. But you did it before this, that was declared, you know. And whom you released, whom you sent to Armenia, war criminal who killed at least 25 people in Hojale. And nobody knows still in Azerbaijan, nobody knows yet what was the mechanism of his extradition or release. Nobody knows. So how government works in Azerbaijan? And when you say, oh, Abid told that Aliyev wants to intimidate the world, and cannot intimidate the world. It's just a populism. Populist messages addressed to Azerbaijani people. Nobody takes care what Aliyev is saying. Look at when he visited Davos, no one journalist approached to him, no one media, but Euronews. You know, Euronews is his friend's, Hungarian friend's platform. That's why that was the only and platform, information platform, we made interview with Aliyev. Or maybe Aliyev rejected to cooperate with the other media because every journalist having some respect to himself, his profession, will definitely ask Aliyev why Azerbaijan has so many journalists in prison, especially young women, young girls. And you're talking about mental values, you're talking about our national religious values. And then you send to prison young ladies with a false, absolutely falsified accusations. That's the question. So I think. So what we want actually in by building our cooperation with the international institutions, that to push Azerbaijani government to make right decision, you know. But Arif, I would say in this respect, so popular parliament is not a shadow parliament. It's actually a legitimate, politically legitimate institution because it was chosen by by parts of Azerbaijani people who participated in this election. And believe me, we have people voted for People's Parliament, not less than people voted for so-called National Assembly, because National Assembly elections were totally falsified. And today, we don't have executive power, you know. Even if we are represented in Parliamentary Assembly, or even if something happens and we are replacing Azerbaijani Parliament, I mean, Milli Majlis or National Assembly in Parliamentary Assembly, we have no implementation mechanisms, no executive power, because executive power is totally concentrated in the hands of Aliyev regime. But we want to push Aliyev regime to admit the rules of the game and go back, not to try intimidate international institutions to implement their own Aliyev regime's agenda. Nobody can accept it, and nobody will accept it. That's our idea, you know. Sorry for being long.
Thank you very much, Arastun. One of our very active viewers, Turan Mammadli, continuously says, please answer my questions. There are many questions posted by him, but we will do it at the end of the program. So be patient, and we will do that. We just first go through the questions, and then we will try to have to answer some of your questions. Abid Bey, Abid, my question is to you. Yes, you were in Strasbourg. Was it the first time you were there? Yes.
No, second time. First time I was in the PACE in 2023.
23. But that time you were not in the capacity of the member of your board.
No,
member.
just I was doing the journalistic activity, trying to record the side events, etc.
Yeah, but this time it was your second visit, but already as a member of the board of the Azerbaijani Popular Parliament. What was the objective? Was just to see people, or did you have particular goal? And probably also, of course, I know that the parliament gave you the power to speak, to meet the people. What was the objective, and do you think to what extent you have achieved your objective? So are you satisfied completely, or you think that there is a work to be done in the future?
Thank you for the interesting question. I think regarding the question about satisfaction of my activities in PACE, I think this question should be answered by the Mr. Chairman, Arastun. But in terms of the question, yeah, it was my second time, and really becoming the member of Presidium in the Azerbaijan Popular Parliament, it was the first time. And the main objective of the visit was, as you mentioned, to create a networking, to achieve some maybe interviews, talks, discussions regarding the especially situation around the freedom of speech, because a journalist, this is the main subject for me, main important subject for me. Anyway, we managed to take the interview from the newly elected president of the PACE, Madame Petra Bayer. And during the interview, I managed to ask 3 questions. And one of the questions I think is mostly relevant to the question you are asking now, regarding the Azerbaijani membership in the Council of Europe. I think Azerbaijan has lost its voting right in 2024 January, but still member of the Council of Europe. And as we discussed with the Mrs. President, he mentioned that there is a difference between Russia and Azerbaijan. Why this subject was very important for me? Because you know that after long discussions, the Russian opposition could manage to get the representation in PACE as a democratic forces and represent the Russian people. And the main difference, as Mrs. President mentioned, that Russia is not part of the member of Council of Europe, but Azerbaijan, even though it lost the writing vote, but still member of Council of Europe. I think in order to replace or to achieve representation of the people, doesn't matter if it is Russian people or Azerbaijani or any other people who are groaning or mourning under the dictatorship. Yeah, I think that this can be the good precedent, and in order to achieve such kind of scenario, I think we need to work closely with PACE, and the direction or the Rus discourse taken by the Aliyev's regime actually will lead them astray from the Council of Europe, astray from the civil world, astray from European, I mean, the values, democratic values. So, regarding the question, if the Azerbaijan Popular Parliament is shadow parliament, the clear answer is not. But I would say that not yet. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Abid. Yes, well, in fact, my question was, in fact, about that. Do you think, or you know, do you think that we can, like Azerbaijani opposition in general, have a seat in the Parliamentary Assembly of the Council of Europe, just to replace, the same way as Russian opposition is now represented in the Parliamentary Assembly. It is wider. I've seen that they are not people from the same party or the same parliament or the same. There are different people, businessmen, journalists, investigators, so that wider spectrum. Do you think that you can become observer or just kind of status, some kind of status in the capacity of the People's Parliament members, or it can be a wider coalition of people?
May I answer this question, Arif?
Sure.
I apologize. So, first of all options are at the table.
Yeah.
If Azerbaijan official Baku comes back and accepts its commitments before international institutions as well as before the Council of Europe, I think that would be enough to be satisfied for us. If not, if they continue to ignore all international commitments, their own commitments, if they continue threatening people in Azerbaijan, jailing them, imprisoning them for criticism for their political activity, and they continue this kind of abnormal behavior, we definitely will be targeting to replace Azerbaijan's official
delegation,
legislative power in the European Council of Europe, in the Parliamentary Assembly. But we are not going to do it as a people's parliament. We have already addressed our message to all opposition groups, even persons privately struggling with Aliyev regime. We said, come and let's make our decision together. We are not only institution can replace or represent it or representing Azerbaijani people. In this respect, we are very supportive about larger coalition. But now it depends how our potential partners react. How do they respond to our call? But I think the Russian case can be continued in terms of Azerbaijan.
Can I also add on top of it, Arif? Yeah, I think. Yes, I think the message is as clear as possible. Of course, surely we would like to Azerbaijan to reform again, hold the fair democratic elections, all the political prisoners to be released, and under that conditions, I mean, after fulfilling all the requirements, yeah, established by Parliament Assembly, Council of Europe, and Council of Europe. After that, yeah, we wish that the best case scenario for Azerbaijan to come back to the base after fulfilling all the conditions. Because we realize that if it is not happening, if we to replace as opposition in the pace, I mean, the government of Azerbaijan, it will take to the very radical route of the solving of the problem, to be honest. And we don't want it to be very, I mean, dramatic. We want it to be as civil as possible. But we shouldn't forget that recently Ilham Aliyev announced that he is not accepting the verdict of the European Human Rights Court, if you remember, yeah? So all the messages, all the declarations, unfortunately so far, is, you know, the sign of Azerbaijan to go astray from the European values. Thank you.
Thank you, Abid. Can I add also a couple of words? Just probably with 400 political prisoners in the country, perspectives of joining again to the PASER seems very unrealistic. You mentioned that Azerbaijan remains a member of the Council of Europe, and you know, it's expelled from the Parliamentary Assembly, but it's one institution. The Parliamentary Assembly is a part of the Council of Europe. But I think that Azerbaijani regime doesn't understand that it plays with the fire. If Azerbaijan, because if PASE see Azerbaijan doesn't move and doesn't want to reform everything, it can be expelled. And if Azerbaijan expelled from the Council of Europe, it will not have access to the partial agreements, to the mechanisms of the Council of Europe. For example, one of the partial agreements is Bologna process. If we are not part of Bologna process, Azerbaijani diplomas will not be recognized internationally. Azerbaijani students will not have access to the European universities. You know, now, of course, we are not member of the European Union, but Azerbaijani students go and study in French, Belgium, and other universities in France. But if we are not part of the Bologna process, or access will be very, very limited. Also, another example, like Manival, it's another instrument of parliament, you know, within the Council of Europe. Manival is about laundering, mechanism of the money laundering. I remember that Azerbaijan was not ignoring Manival requests for transparency, including transparent of the accounts and everything. One of the requests was also to set up a, 'cause, 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 ' money, like monitoring, like institutions which will monitor laundering money if there are some transactions. Like, I think that financial intelligence, like unit in the central bank. And Azerbaijan was ignoring. Finally, there was like fifth level of warning. After that, Azerbaijani embassies couldn't receive and send money abroad, even diplomatic missions. They had to switch to small, local banks, mostly Middle Eastern banks, Pakistani banks in London. And they were calling what to do. Soccer money. They couldn't operate and make transactions in UK, in other countries. So that they don't even understand that if international community would decide to squeeze and say that enough is enough, how serious consequences they might have. So that we finish this question, because there are many questions, and I would like to leave little space for them.
May I just at the end mention something very important? So we as a People's Parliament, a popular parliament, have a clear strategy for ourselves and for our people to build relationship with all international institutions, to build cooperation with them, regardless Azerbaijani government is doing this or not, because they have their own options. But we prefer to follow international options. What you counted out, possible backlash for Azerbaijan in terms of ignoring cooperation with international institutions, it's too much for one country. It's too much for one people. We can't afford it, That's why we will continue our strategy of building cooperation between popular parliament, which is, I want to mention it again and make it quite clearly, that represents at least part of Azerbaijani people who voted for People's Parliament. And I'm sure that we have much more supporters today than we had in the beginning. We will continue this. We will be pushing Azerbaijani government to play according to the game's rules, Otherwise, we will play this game. Otherwise, they will simply put them out of the process, but not us and not Azerbaijani people. Nobody has the right, nobody has a duty to decide behalf of Azerbaijani people where Azerbaijan to be, in Central Asia, in the Middle East Arab monarchies, or in Europe. That's a decision already made more than 100 years ago by our founder fathers. That's it. It's not a subject of discussion. But if they want to implement their own rules, they can do it in their families, in their own circles, but not in extent of the whole country, And I think Azerbaijani government has to take it quite seriously. They were always trying to wipe out all possible alternatives in terms of political rivalry, in terms of political competition. But they do have today. And it's not only Azerbaijani People's Parliament. It's now quite huge network of Azerbaijani activists, politicians, journalists, bloggers. They pushed all of us out of the country. But don't forget that in our preconditions, in our circumstances, in the modern circumstances where technologies play a key role in politics, in media, in relationship with people, in cooperation, it makes no sense where you are. Sometimes people say, oh, you are all of leadership of Azerbaijani People's Parliament are outside of country. Okay. So we have several political parties, dozens of political parties based in Azerbaijan and live in Azerbaijan. They are living in Azerbaijan. They are, I mean, leadership and so on. Do they have opportunity to communicate with Azerbaijani people directly, not via information platform? No, no. It's the same condition. In this respect, we are even feel much more free than they are. You know, that's an issue. And Azerbaijani government has to take it into account.
Yeah, I'm sure that Azerbaijani government follows closely the developments, and probably the fact that you initiated this, process might move them quicker than they can think that, okay, if we are not there, they will take our places, and then probably they can think about that. Even if we can make help them to make this decision, it's already good. I think that success, because I believe that Azerbaijan should be part of the European family, should be part of the Council of Europe, should be part of the European Union in the future. And we see how advanced Armenia, Moldova, Ukraine, Georgia, and their citizens can travel and go to and stay in Europe for 3 months without any visa on the base of their even not passports. I think that on the base of their how is it called? ID cards. Just on the simple ID card, they can go to Europe. Azerbaijani citizens cannot even cross their border to other countries. You know that land borders are still remain closed, and only option is by flights, which are very expensive and not accessible for many people. I go to the last question, then we will try to answer the questions. Epstein files, which made lots of noise around the world. We see all media. If you open any media, any YouTube channel, you see discussion on Epstein files. We have seen some Azerbaijani names in there, but we know that only part of files are open, and there are more coming. And I'm sure that it's not possible that Azerbaijanis are not there. We have seen some names already, but I know that probably beauty contest. One of the beauty contests was organized in Moscow, in the Russian Federation, and I'm sure that that time, President Trump was the chair of this beauty contest, and I don't exclude that Epstein hand was on this beauty contest, because wherever there were nice women, he was there. I have seen your status, Arastun, about Epstein files and why it is now, why it came to surface now, and what consequences it might be. And also, probably it resonates with the first question, that when we said that on the table or on the menu, we see that people who were on the honorable tables now become menus. even royalties, Prince Andrew, we see Norwegian, princess, and many, honorable people, well-known people. When you see list of different dignitaries, you recognize 1-2 people. But when we see those mentioned in the Epstein file, you know most of the people, because they are so known and so popular that almost everybody knows these people. Do you think that it was just by chance and the decision to open all these files, or there is something behind this? 3 million pages, and I think that there are even 6 million pages, like 3 were open and 3 will remain closed. Or like, I remember 3 million pages. I remember when we were given the mission to at the university to read some some volumes of Marx Karl Marx Capital book. It was a little bit 600 pages, and I thought I can never read this, but there are 5 million pages. What do you think? Just about your post, how you would comment?
Well, my post you mentioned was just a general assessment in terms of how global politics go to be changed after this Epstein files exposed. So first of all, I would like to mention that that was a really bold step by the American congressman, because nobody was interested. By the way, both Biden administration and Trump administration particularly were not interested in opening of these files. But finally, there were both bilateral Republican and Democratic congressman group who started to lobby this act. It's called official, I think, Epstein Files Public Act or something like this. But that was a bold step, because it's going to change, and everybody understood this before. They were aware about this earlier. It's going to change the whole political landscape. You know, before it would be possible to accuse somebody, it's very popular in the West, you know, that being conspiracy theories. But after Epstein files released, I think we can't forget about any conspiracy, because it's the worst model of conspiracy. Even some crazy conspiracy theorists couldn't imagine to talk about kind of things we see today. So what happened really with in political, global political landscape. So I think now it's the end of an old era. Era started since 1945 after World War II finished. But unfortunately, this political system created after World War II has also degraded. It has deeply degraded. It was corrupt. It was criminalized. Otherwise, what happened with Epstein could never be happened. So, and now I think some really smart people decided, let's change this situation. It's gonna change. It's gonna change the situation. You know, what's interesting? We have today people debunked by Epstein. Definitely, Epstein was just an instrument. I'm sure that some intelligence services were standing behind of Epstein. Otherwise, how can that when a guy who's not even well-educated person, you know, he was teaching at some school, high school in New York City, but he had no teacher license. It's unbelievable. So that means he was just, you know, infiltrated. He was an infiltrated agent. But I don't think that Epstein was a key figure in this. The key figure is Ghislaine Maxwell with her background. And her background is her father, Robert Maxwell, who was, somebody said, double agent, Mossad and KGB agent, but most probably he was a Mossad agent, and just KGB used him for cooperation with Israelis. Okay, I don't want to dig deep, but anyway, that's the end of old political system. So how will look the new political system? It depends on how societies will react to this process, how societies will be active in building a new political system. So I know that American society in this respect is very active. It's extremely active. It reacts immediately. Its response is tough. It's, you know, it demands accountability. And the one positive point in terms of the United States is that both Republican and Democratic Party will look completely different after Epstein files exposed. You know why? The very simple reason. Maybe not too many people know this, but Clintons still have a great impact on Democratic Party.
As well as Barack Obama.
As well as Barack Obama. And I think it's gonna finish. It's gonna do its end. So we can focus on details, but I don't want to do that because there are so millions of details. So, but in terms of Azerbaijan, I'm sure that there will be somebody found out in Epstein files.
Thank you very much. We will switch to questions. In fact, I wanted to give you also to Abid to say something, but the question is about Epstein files. I will put on the screen the question. It is from viewer 7257. What could you say about Israel, Epstein, and Arif connection? Will it also affect Israel political power on EU and USA? Well, but please, 1 minute for each question. Just who would like to say?
I think Israel in general failed with Europeans, first of all, and there is a huge discussion in American society about the role of Israel. And what Israel's impact on Azerbaijan, how it's going to decrease or increase, it depends on Azerbaijani people and on Azerbaijani political circumstances.
Abid, on Arif connection, do you have something to add?
To be honest, I couldn't follow everything regarding the Epstein files, but I think the last happenings, I mean, if you remember, I think in 2023, some massacre places were found underground in New York for kids, for children. You remember some stuff were found. I think after that situation and also for upcoming massacre in Gaza and following these Epstein files, I think that Israel will lose its power as it used to be maybe 10 years ago. I think the population society in the world realizes that the Israel actually is acting against interest of the world civil society. Thank you.
Thank you.
I just want to add that, Arif, you know, right now there is huge criticism on both sides. I mean, Republicans and Democrats sides in terms of American policy dependent, American politics dependent on Israeli factor. And it definitely impacts Israel in negative. But at the same time, unfortunately, you know that anti-Semitic sentiments, they were always very, very active, you know, in different countries, especially in Europe, last century in America as well. By the way, America is one of the most anti-Semitic countries in the world. The process is also joined by some anti-Semitic sentiments. It can fail the process because Israeli government is very actively using false accusation in anti-Semitism against everybody criticizing Israel. But fortunately, there are many people of Jewish origin in the United States very critical about Israel, but you can't blame them in anti-Semitism. It doesn't work.
Yeah, there is next question. The Azerbaijani government is a brutal regime passed from father to son. dictator Haider Aliyev, dictator Ilham Aliyev. Can this regime be overthrown by Tural Mammadli? There are two questions, but
yeah, actually, I don't consider Azerbaijani regime dictatorship. Dictatorship is actually something different. You know, they have a strong ideology. They have very serious resources. Aliyev regime is a kleptocracy. It's a puppet regime, and it will definitely fail. I'm absolutely sure. And even having no opponents, no serious institutionalized opposition, it will fail. It will decrease itself. It will kill itself politically, because the way they run the country is completely wrong. It cannot bring to success.
Yeah. The next question. Trump has once again stated that Democrats may attempt to impeach him. What do you think about that? Will Trump leave office with a clean slate, unlike Biden? Do you think that he will?
I think there is a great possibility that Donald Trump leaves the office until his period is over. But you know, in principle, it changes nothing in America, because in America, when president cannot stay in office, country is not going for the next presidential elections. Vice president takes the duty of president and continues the interim period up to the end.
Abid, do you want something to add?
No, I think that there will be some attempts, and if they will be successful or not, it totally depends on
midterm elections. Midterm elections would be important. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, but I think that American people will raise their voice regarding the, that I don't want to. I mean, the comments on the Trump's decision regarding the America, I think this is for American people.
Yeah.
I just want to add something. By the way, the latest polls in the United States show that Republicans are really losing. They have all chances to lose in midterm elections and stay in minority in both House and Senate. And just I give your example, what happened several days ago. There were in 9th district of Texas. Texas is a traditionally Republican state, blue state, a red state, sorry. And there were a Democratic nominee and Republican nominee running for the seat in Texas Senate. And Republican lost for 14 counts. That would be impossible in America before.
Okay, my next question is, what is happening in Iran? Like I will put also the question on the screen so that others can see. What is happening in Iran proves that it's impossible to solve economic problems without political and governance reform. Are Azerbaijan and Turkey capable of saving Iran under various scenarios? But before you answer the question, please like and share our stream, because last stream was much more viewed by much more people, but please be more active. I forgot to invite you to be more active, but please do it so that we can have more people who would see this stream. Yes. Do you think that there is a chance Iran will start economic and political reforms? And what can Azerbaijan and Turkey do to save Iran, to help them?
It's $1 million question.
Yeah.
Nobody knows what's going to happen between America and Iran, United States and Iran, because from one hand side, Donald Trump, emboldened by his successful military operation in Venezuela, he wants to try the same in Iran. But it seems a little bit more complicated than what happened in Venezuela. So first of all, because of no one Venezuelan neighbor countries were resisting the United States military operation. But the situation is completely different in the Middle East. Not only Turkey and some countries having more or less good relationship with Iran, but even traditional enemies of Iran, like Saudi Arabia uh, or Emirates, which is more loyal to Iran than Saudi Arabia. No Pakistan, neither Turkey, no one country will support, let's say, not large scale, full scale military operation against Iran, but even some airstrikes against Iran. But actually, even airstrikes with the using of very precision weapons does not change the situation. I'm not sure about this because to change the regime in Iran, you need to have, first of all, some real opponents, institutionalized opposition. Is there any institutional opposition in Iran? No. So Americans and Israelis using Pahlavi,
Yeah, it's really
so-called crown prince. By the way, I found out a very good name for him, mentioned by Max Blumenthal. Max Blumenthal is a American podcaster, very objective and very honest guy. He called him not crown prince but clown prince. You know, Americans and Israelis, I think they also not so happy with Pahlavi, but they have nothing to do with others. You know, they have no more opportunities, and they use him as a scarecrow. You know what scarecrow? Scarecrow called in Russian pugola. Yeah, it's like a scarecrow. You set in somewhere in your garden to scare birds and animals that they don't don't hurt your crop. Yeah, I mean that's a very difficult situation. So to to do something militarily against Iran, you have to have boots on the ground, like Americans say. So to involve or to invade the country by ground forces. So for invading ground forces, you have to use armored vehicles, tank brigades or something else, not only infantry, to cover them up by military air forces, use naval forces, but it's not so easy. Believe me, if Donald Trump starts kind of military operation against Iran, and America has some 30, even 30, 50 people lost, that will be great scandal and political crisis within the United States. That's why today there are at least 3 groups within the Republican Party and Republican camp. They have 3 completely contradictory positions on Iran. So the first one is so-called neocons, neoconservative. They try, they always have a dominating narrative of Israeli alliance Middle East. So it doesn't work because MAGA, which is the biggest platform supporting Donald Trump publicly, which is very important one group, they oppose neocons, and the third group is libertarians, which are for more focusing on economy and limited government and so on. You know this traditional approach of libertarians and liberals. So it's very complicated, and I don't know. Will Donald Trump take a responsibility to do something against Iran? And by the way, Iran can respond. Everybody knows that. Iran can respond, and China is standing behind Iran, and nobody knows how Chinese technology is precise today because they have not been tested. That's why I said it's $1 million question.
Yeah, thank you. The next question, I will try to pick up a couple of more questions because we are running out of time. The next question is again from Turan Mamadli. In the global context, under what possible scenarios does a change of power in Azerbaijan seem realistic? Is a peaceful change possible? Briefly, Abid, do you think that peaceful change is possible?
Thank you. I think the change of the power in Azerbaijan can be witnessed if people of Azerbaijan will become from, I don't know, from viewer of the political processes, from the participant of the political process. So far, people just watching and monitoring. I think as long as people will get into the political process, of course, surely at least the government will reform and will make some changes. When we talk about the change, there are two types of the change: evolutional change and revolutionary change. In order to achieve evolutionary change, people should stand for their rights for voting and also take the ownership of the state. Yeah, this state is owned by Azerbaijani people. Azerbaijan state of Azerbaijan is not owned by Aliyev's family. I think evolutionary change is possible, but I don't want to discuss revolutionary because revolutionary is also consists of two parts. I mean, the Velvet Revolution and Bloody Revolution. If we talk about the Velvet Revolution, then yes, it can be done, and I think we should work on it in order for people to trust us, to have the trust that yes, these people, let it be Arif, Arastun, Abid, and anyone else in that position, if they lead us, yes, they will protect us from the internal and external dangers. Yeah, I think we should work on it, and as long as people has that kind of confidence, yes, we can have velvet type of the revolution. But I don't want to discuss the bloody type of the revolution. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I will also add to this couple of words. Yes, I do completely agree that if the government really starts doing reforms or dialogue within the society, dialogue with different layers of society, then we can avoid bad scenarios. Bad scenarios is a revolution, because normally revolution is very difficult process. When people revolt, revolution comes from the first, and sometimes it's very difficult to control. And even for the government members, their own security, their family's security, they have to think about the day when it might happen. It might happen anytime, And what is happening within the system, within the team? We have some rumors coming from within the system that there is very heavy clash, and this recent compromise, like videos coming on the scene, is a sign of fierce inside fighting within the regime, and it is also one of the signals to the president, to the ruling elite, that this day is not far away. And if they don't make conclusion, they don't make some, their own judgment, one day it might be late. Even those who don't want this, scenario would not be able to do anything. So that regime should understand that dialogue with all the forces, with opposition, with not opposition inside, but also outside, because I'm sorry to say, I think that opposition inside the country is completely smashed down. Media is shut down. Journalists are put in prison. Activists are in prison. Those who are more or less active people, and then they have to think about the day when this day comes. it might be too late for them. And I believe that, and we see, I'm sure that you also feel that all these things which are, I don't want to mention what is happening now. It is a sign of internal fighting. It's not somebody sending information. It is, we all understand that it is coming from, dying regime, from regime which is corrupt, and it comes out, Can you,
Arif, but I think that evolutional method is not going to work for Azerbaijan, unfortunately. Why? Because on purpose, Aliyev's regime demolished all the possible social institutes in order to maintain the evolutional process. Even the institution of elders, Aksakallar Institute, was demolished. So there is no any social institution in place in order to support the evolution process. The only way and the method is left is revolutionary. That's why, yeah. Thank you.
I was surprised.
May I add something?
Just a, even in Uzbekistan, there is Institute of Aksakal. There, you know that every part of Tashkent, they have communities, and the government talks to Mahla. They have Mahla board, and Mahla board puts the questions before the government, and government talks to the people of each Mahla. I don't know how to say street. It is wider than the street. District.
Good.
Every district has its board, and the government goes and talks to them. President talks to each board, each street board. Arastun, you wanted to add?
I just want to add something. I'm also not for revolutionary changes, because a revolution is, for me, any revolution is a violence. But unfortunately, I'm not optimistic about the future. And I'm not optimistic because of, I see that Azerbaijani government is dragging Azerbaijani society into violence, and itself is also preparing for use of force against Azerbaijani people. What's going on with internal troops and so on, I can give you hundreds of, examples what makes me pessimistic. And another very important point, that I'm not sure that the Azerbaijani government makes decision itself. It's run from outside of the country. We can dispute about from where to, but that's not the matter. The matter is that Azerbaijani government is a puppet government. It's run by others, and they are not committed to take care about Azerbaijani people, both their leaders, invisible leaders, but also Azerbaijani government itself. So here, everything depends on Azerbaijani people. If Azerbaijani people really feel confidence, will bring back their, self
conscience.
Yeah. Only in this case, government can take the society into account. Otherwise, they suppress the society. Today, they face no reaction, no response. It's okay. We are forceful. We are powerful. Why do we have to go to any negotiations or any dialogue with the society? So it's a matter of self-esteem. When our people will estimate themselves correctly, and government will see that, it will be pushed by the society to negotiate and change the country by peaceful way. But still, we don't see that. That's why I'm pessimistic.
Okay, thank you. May I take the last question? Just the last question, and then we complete. Turan Mamadli question. Iran is a multinational country. Imagine a society of 93 million people is falling apart. The situation in the country is getting out of control. who will suffer the most from this? Turkey, then Azerbaijan.
So
and by the way, probably it also applies to our previous question that if something happens in Iran, it will affect us very strongly, and these scenarios can become even quicker realistic than we were thinking.
Any scenario in Iran will affect us, but peaceful scenario. If they go to reforms and change the situation by peaceful way.
But if not?
If not, it will definitely affect, and it will affect us and Turkey very painfully. But first of all, it will affect Iranian society. Will be Iran splitted? Will be Iran divided into separate states? I don't think so. I don't think so because, so first of all, two majority communities in Iran, they are not interested in splitting of Iran.
Yeah.
Azerbaijanis and Persians, and that's it. So all the other minority, they're not powerful enough to separate their land or their community from Iran.
Okay. Abid, do you want to add something?
I think whatever happens to Iran will definitely affect the region. Let it be war, let it be, I don't know, change of the government. I think if everything follows the peaceful the way, it would be more, the useful for Turkey, Azerbaijan, and the region. But I think we should be prepared because whatever happens in Iran will definitely impact Turkey and Azerbaijan. I'm not the pro-war person. But if there is any war, the dislocation of the people, millions, will affect that they will come to the Azerbaijan, to Turkey, and especially after what Turkish society had the experience with the
Syrian
refugees from Syria. Yeah, I think that the Turkish people also don't want this to happen. So we will see.
Yeah, I do agree with you. It will not affect not only Turkey and Azerbaijan, but even Armenia, Georgia, Central Asian countries. There are Turkmens and there are Turkish groups,
exactly.
And many. So it will be real mess in the region. Okay, I complete this. There is last comment. It's more the joke. Valerian, last time he said that please it was a joke. Please make the next program in Chinese. And I said to him that I can do it only in Ethiopian. And he writes me again, I found Ethiopian and Chinese dictionary, but you run again broadcast in English. So that, but also some people were saying that why not in Azerbaijani, why not in other languages? Next time we will do in Azerbaijani, but I'm sure that all speakers are very active on social media. You can follow Abid or Arastun on Facebook, on Azeri Freedom and other channels. So that
I would like to give some confidence to our viewer. Don't hurry. Just wait for 30, 40 years. You will see most of streams in Chinese. It's just a matter of time.
Absolutely, yeah. Okay, thank you very much. I would like to encourage our viewers to like and share. We hope that you will do it immediately. And I would like, on behalf of all viewers and all friends, to thank both of you. And I hope that we can continue this progress in the future to make tradition. And also, we are planning to make some programs in Russian and Azerbaijani and maybe Chinese in the future. Thanks again. Thank you.
Who knows? Thank you, Arif, for having us. Thank you, Abid.
Thank you.
Thank you, Arif.